a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Eurovision Song Contest 2019. The Eurovision Song Contest 2019 will be the 64th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest. The contest is scheduled to take place in Tel Aviv, Israel, following Israel's victory at the 2018 contest in Lisbon, Portugal, with the song "Toy" performed by Netta. The contest will be held at Expo Tel Aviv, the city's convention center. The show will consist of two semi-finals on 14 and the 16th of May, and the final on the 18th of May 2019. 41 countries will take part in the contest, with and absent, both for the first time since. Venue. The contest will take place at Expo Tel Aviv's 7,300-seat Congress and Convention Center called Beit 2, which was inaugurated in January 2015. Located on Rokat Boulevard in northern Tel Aviv, the convention center serves as a venue for many different events, including concerts, exhibitions, trade fairs, and conferences. The fairground has 10 halls and pavilions, plus a large outdoor space. The new pavilion hosted the 2018 European Judo Championships from 26 to 28 April. Bidding phase and host city selection. After Israel's victory in Lisbon, Portugal, Netta and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that the 2019 contest would be held in Jerusalem. But this was yet to be confirmed by the Israeli Public Broadcasting Corporation and the European Broadcasting Union. Israeli Finance Minister Moshe Kalon also stated in an interview that the event would be solely held in Jerusalem and estimated its cost at 120 million Israeli shekels. The mayor of Jerusalem, Nir Barkat, mentioned Jerusalem Arena and Teddy Stadium as possible venues to host the event. The municipality of Jerusalem had also confirmed that the contest would not be held at the International Convention Center, which hosted the Eurovision Song Contest 1979 and 1999, due to its insufficient capacity. On the 18th of June 2018, Prime Minister Netanyahu stated that Israel had committed to remaining in compliance with EBU rules regarding the constitution of member broadcasters, as to not affect its hosting of Eurovision. The IPBC's establishment included a condition that news programming would later be delegated to a second public broadcasting entity, which violates EBU rules requiring member broadcasters to have their own internal news departments. On the 19th of June 2018, Israel was officially confirmed as the host country, and on the 24th of June 2018, Cannes formally opened the bidding process for cities interested in hosting the 2019 contest. On the 28th of July 2018, Israeli Minister Michael Oren, who is closely connected to Prime Minister Netanyahu, stated that Jerusalem did not have the resources to host the contest, restating the common talking point that Tel Aviv was the more likely host. Soon after, reports of the government not providing the €12 million down payment, Cannes requested to cover hosting expenses and security surfaced, with a compromise reached on the 29th of July 2018. Following a tense back and forth between Cannes and the government, a compromise between the two parties was reached that would see Cannes paying the €12 million to the EBU and the Finance Ministry covering expenses should complications arise. The mayor of Tel Aviv announced that the city would be willing to pay for the convention center itself, should it be chosen as the host city. The week of the 27th of August 2018, Executive Supervisor/Scrutineer John Olisand led a handful of EBU delegates around Israel to scope out the potential venues in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and to hear the bid from Eilat. On the 30th of August 2018, Sand stated in an interview with Cannes that Eilat was no longer in the running to host, leaving it between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. He also stated that there was no serious discussion among members of the EBU for boycotting the event. On the 13th of September 2018, the EBU announced Tel Aviv as the host city, with Expo Tel Aviv as the selected venue for the 2019 contest. Key host venue shortlisted. Other sites. The Eurovision Village will be the official Eurovision Song Contest fan and sponsors area during the event's week, where it will be possible to watch performances by local artists, as well as the live shows broadcast from the main venue. It will be located at the Charles Claw Park in Tel Aviv. Visual design. The slogan for the contest, Dare to Dream, was unveiled on the 28th of October 2018. Its visual design was revealed on the 8th of January 2019, which features logo consisting of triangles forming a golden star. Along with the main version, there are two more alternative versions of the logo. The logo, brand and theme was created by Studio Adam Feinberg. Presenters. On the 25th of January 2019, Cannes announced that 4 presenters will host the 3 shows. TV host Serez Tal and Arsi Azar, who work for the Israeli Channel 12, supermodel Bar Rafaeli, and Cannes host Lucy Ayoub, who was also the Israeli spokesperson at the 2018 contest. Tal and Rafaeli will be the main hosts, while Azar and Ayoub would be hosting the Green Room. Semi-final allocation draw. The draw to determine the allocation of the participating countries into their respective semi-finals took place on the 28th of January 2019 at 1700 hours CET, at the Tel Aviv Museum of Art. The 36 semi-finalists had been allocated into 6 pots, based on historical voting patterns as calculated by the contest's official televoting partner Digame. Drawing from different pots helps to reduce the chance of so-called neighborly voting and increases suspense in the semi-finals. The draw also determined the semi-final that each of the 6 automatic finalist countries will broadcast and vote in. The ceremony was hosted by contest presenters Arsi Azar and Lucy Ayoub, and included the passing of a Eurovision insignia from the city of Lisbon to the city of Tel Aviv. Participating countries. The ABU announced on the 7th of November 2018 that 42 countries would participate in the contest, with absent due to financial reasons. On the 27th of February 2019, announced its withdrawal from the contest, due to controversy around their national selection. This subsequently reduced the number of participating countries to 41. Returning artists. The contest will feature 5 representatives who previously performed as lead vocalists for the same countries. 2 of these returning artists participated in. Sergei Lazarev represented with the song "You Are the Only One," winning the first semi-final and placing 3rd in the final, while Sahat represented with the song "I Didn't Know," which placed 12th in the first semi-final. Yossi Papai represented for the first time in with the song "Origo," placing 8th in the final. Tamara Todevska represented in, alongside of Cake and Adrian, with the song "Let Me Love You," placing 10th in the second semi-final. She was also a backing vocalist in and for Tosha Proeski and Tijana Datkovic, respectively. Novina Bozovic represented in the as a part of Moye 3, with the song "Lyubov Zhusvuda," which placed 11th in the first semi-final. She also represented the country in the Junior Eurovision Song Contest 2007 with the song "PC Me," which placed 3rd. In addition, the contest will feature artists returning as first-time lead singers for their country. Jurovs Viklenko provided backing vocals for Lithuania's representatives in or as backing vocalists after representing another country. Salen, the IN, will return as a backing vocalist for the. She also provided backing vocals in for her native country, and in for Semi-Final 1. The first semi-final will take place on the 14th of May 2019 at 2200 hours IDT. 17 countries will participate in the first semi-final. Those countries plus, and will vote in this semi-final, was originally allocated to participate in the second half of the semi-final, however withdrew from the contest due to controversy at its national selection. Semi-Final 2. The second semi-final will take place on the 16th of May 2019 at 2200 hours IDT. 18 countries will participate in the second semi-final. Those countries plus, and the will vote in this semi-final. Switzerland was pre-drawn into this semi-final due to scheduling issues. Other countries. Eligibility for potential participation in the Eurovision Song Contest requires a national broadcaster with active ABU membership that will be able to broadcast the contest via the Eurovision network. the ABU issued an invitation of participation in the contest to all 56 active members. The Israeli Minister of Communications Ayub Kara has also invited countries from the Middle Eastern and North African region, with which Israel largely has tense relationships or no diplomatic relations. Kara pointed out Tunisia and the Gulf states Saudi Arabia as well as Dubai and Abu Dhabi as part of the United Arab Emirates. Tunisia is eligible to participate, but is not due to rules banning the promotion of Israeli content, while the Gulf states do not have national broadcasters with ABU membership. Religious requests. On the 14th of May 2018, Yaakov Litzman, leader of the ultra-Orthodox party United Torah Judaism and Israel's former Minister of Health, drafted a letter to the Ministers of Tourism, Communications, and Culture and Sports, in which he requested that the event not violate religious laws. In the name of hundreds of thousands of Jewish citizens from all the populations and communities for whom Shabbat observance is close to their hearts, I appeal to you, already at this early stage, before production and all the other details of the event has begun, to be strict in ensuring that this matter does not harm the holiness of Shabbat, and to work in every way to prevent the desecration of Shabbat, God forbid, as the law and the status quo requires. According to Jewish religious law, Shabbat, the holy Sabbath, is observed from just before sunset on Friday evening until Saturday night. The Saturday evening broadcast of the show, which will start at 2200 hours local time, will not conflict with this. However, the Friday evening jury show and Saturday afternoon rehearsals would. Similar protests arose in the lead-up to the 1999 Israeli-held competition, but then there were fewer competing teams, allowing for certain adjustments to be made to accommodate the issue. The chairman of the ABU's Eurovision Committee, Dr. Frank Data Freiling, noted that he was well aware of the tension, and has plans to address it in his communications with the Israeli broadcaster, Shalvar Band, who will perform as the interval act during the second semi-final, withdrew from Israel's national final, citing similar concerns on possibly performing during Shabbat in the rehearsals for the final, should they have one. Calls for boycott. Due to the contest being held in Israel, and initially there being a potential for Jerusalem to host for a third time, some have expressed their discontent and called for a boycott, as part of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Despite this, no country withdrew as a result of such calls. National selection disruptions. As part of the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement against Israel, several national selections were disrupted in the run-up to the 2019 Eurovision Song Contest. On the 19th of January 2019, the second semi-final of Destination Eurovision was invaded by stage intruders who held up signs declaring that Eurovision 2019 should be boycotted as it is hosted in Israel. On the 20th of January 2019, protesters gathered outside the Eurovision Gala of Operación Triunfo, handing out leaflets calling for a boycott of the contest. The European Broadcasting Union has reportedly sent a special letter to all participating broadcasters advising precautions that they can take to prevent similar disruptions. Ukrainian late withdrawal. During the final of the national selection, it was announced that the broadcaster had reserved the right to change the decision made by the jury and Ukrainian public. Following Maouv's win, it was reported that the broadcaster had sent her management a contract requiring Marov to cancel all upcoming appearances and performances in Russia in order to become the Ukrainian representative. She was also given 48 hours to sign the contract or be replaced. The day afterwards, Marov revealed that the broadcaster's contract had additionally banned her from improvising on stage and communicating with any journalist without the permission of the broadcaster, and required her to fully comply with any requests from the broadcaster. Later, the broadcaster published a statement explaining every entry of the contract. If she were to not follow any of these clauses, she would be fined $2 million. Marov also stated that the broadcaster would not give her any financial compensation for the competition and would not pay for the trip to Tel Aviv. On the 25th of February 2019, both Marov and the broadcaster confirmed that she would not represent Ukraine in Israel due to disputes within the contract, and that another act would be chosen. National final runner-up Freedom Jazz announced on the 26th of February 2019 that they had rejected the broadcaster's offer to represent Ukraine as well, with third-place finisher Kazka confirming they had rejected the offer as well the following day. The incident garnered media coverage from major international outlets such as the New York Times, The Washington Post, Billboard, The Telegraph, The Independent, SBS News, The Irish Independent, Le Figaro, Cosmopolitan, and ABC. On the 27th of February 2019, it was announced that Ukraine will not participate in the Eurovision Song Contest 2019. Ticket sales process. The prices of the tickets for this year's event sparked criticism, both in Israel and abroad, with the Times of Israel calling it likely the most expensive ever for Eurovision. Reasons attributed to the high prices. Other high cost of living in Israel and that the Israeli government is not funding this year's Eurovision production, and though the venue can hold up to 10,000 people, only 7,300 seats are available due to the size of the stage, the technical equipment as well as the security features. Of those 7,300 seats, 3,000 have been reserved for the EBU, leaving only 4,300 for the fans. On the 3rd of March 2019 and as of today, ticket sales are frozen due to irregularities noticed by the Oversight Committee of the Israeli broadcaster Kan. Hebrew-language Israeli media reported tickets being illegally resold for 2.5 times the original price. Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan has instructed an investigation. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?